Welcome back to the Riyadh Masters. We've got two new teams. It's going to be the boys on Team Secret taking on Shopify Rebellion. And we even get a fresh new background as well from Denog as well. So, I mean, enlighten us. Why not? You feel like you're wanting the question to be asked on why the background is there. So, sure, enlighten us.
Me wanting attention, imagine that. But no, it's more like Shopify Rebellion fans, they're kind of like OG fans. You know, they could be the most vocal, aggressively happy, as well as ones that kind of, hand out the blame a little bit. And well, unfortunately for Shopify, they really haven't been showing up too much this tournament. So this is the classic Homer, going back into the shrubs meme that we've got behind me. But hopefully for Shopify, that's not the case. Hopefully is not them going home with an early exit out of the Riyadh Masters, because there's a lot of potential there, and I really want to see them play around Abed a little bit more. I think his possibilities have been stifled a little bit, but I still want to see him go back for the Storm as well. So it's like I want to see him break out the Meepo. I want to see the Starling plays, and I want to see him on playmakers. No Snapfire, no nothing like that. I really want to see Abed getting active, making space for Saberlight and RTZ to be able to get the job done.
All right. And then, of course, their counterpart in Team Secret, who we got to see versus TSM, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Versus TSM, where they got the 2-0. Hero that you've really been mentioning a lot is the Batrider. Batrider for them seems like it just opens up their draft without a doubt. They look incredibly clean with it. They picked it in one game against BetBoom, who I didn't get to see the series, so it was bedtime for me. I went to bed, woke up, saw that secret 2-0 Bedford, and I was very surprised. I was
huh?
like, what's going on? So at the end of the day, I mean, Secret, they started day one, 0-4, and they finished day two with 4 wins. So they are actually now higher than Shopify, higher than Liquid, higher than Tundra in the group stages as well. And this could be a lot of momentum as well for the boys on Secret against Shopify, who, this is going to be a very important series with where they're currently positioned. You could be fighting against them for those potential last couple of slots.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big credit for that needs to go to Armel. I mean, he was playing like an absolute beast in those series yesterday. He even broke out the old mid-earth shaker to be able to come through and pick up a few W's there. And honestly, it really did feel like he was a big part of why they were able to get in such a dominant spot. I want to double check it back, but something tells me that he might not have died a single time across that series against BBT. He did not. He went 11-0 and 15 on his mid shaker and 10-0-11 on Armel against GPK, number 2 ranked European player. So this is a pretty solid resume to start building up for yourself.
I say it is. I'm sure you feel the same as well. It's very good to see Armel having some good performances. Of course, as starting from C casters, we always gonna root for the boys, and to see him shining is really good to see. He's having some great performances as well. So we will see. Just to update everyone as well, we do have some power issues, I think, in the Secret camp, just so everyone is aware. Shouldn't take too long to be able to get that one underway. But let's talk about some contested heroes looking into this. I think I'll mention Secret. You've already mentioned the Batrider. I'll even bring the Primal Beast up as well, considering that was the first in both their victories versus TSM. They opened up the draft with the Batrider and Primal Beast. I think that gives them a lot of flexibility as a whole. We've spoken a lot about Puppy's hero pool. The Chen, the Enchantress, which also kind of go into Fly's heroes. The Enigma as well is probably something that needs to be looked at, right? Because Saberlight has a incredible Enigma. Are there any other heroes that kind of come to mind for you?
For like first phase bans, or just in the draft overall?
Just like contested heroes you feel like we'll see with Shopify and Secret.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna go on Batrider again. I think it should be contested by Shopify as like something they could pick. I think in this first game especially, I'm sure that that Secret are going to be looking back and saying, "Look, we've had a lot of success when we can pick it up for Yamich. If Shopify have first pick, let's not pick it. Let's not ban it. Excuse me, because we'll just be able to pick it. I think if Crit can lay down the gauntlet and say, "Look, this isn't that hard of a hero to play. I can make it work." And he is somewhat of a greedy type of support if he wants to be. I've seen many games where Crit is right up there in terms of the net worth, and I think Batrider is the perfect style of hero to be able to do that. So I think you need to take that out of the pool. I think IO as well is something that is going to be so key for Shopify. It's something that Fly's been playing a lot. It's something that Crit, of course, is able to do as well. And it's something that can lane together with a lot of these heroes that Saberlight is trying to play in recent times. Good for the Legion Commander, which he's been spamming a lot. Good for the Beastmaster, Broodmother as well. So Saberlight is much more of that legitimate like lane threat as well as a decent enough team fighter. But yeah, I'm really thinking something that's just going to synergize between the off lane and the mid lane, whether it be a Coddle or an IO. I think that's really where I'm wanting to see Shopify put their chips down.
Okay, and do we even feel like Secret have the potential to contest the IO? Because if we go back to the TI run that Secret had, of course, IO Lesh, Lesh as a whole with Nisha there was super, super scary. We know RML has a formidable Lesh rack, but is Yamich an IO player from that, you know?
Little bit, but certainly not as much, right? He's much more on to like the full team fight style, whereas IO is not really that. You know, when you think of IO, it's the direct opposite of team fight. It's like enabling pickoffs and enabling save from a lot of the enemy team sort of pickoffs, right? And just giving a much stronger lane than you might typically expect. So from Yamich, I'm expecting to see a lot of the same, right? The Bat Rider, the Crystal Maiden. I think he might be the only 4 Crystal Maiden that we've really seen throughout the Riyadh Masters so far, at least from the games that I've been watching. And from Puppy, just give him his Elder Titan, man. He is so damn good. He's insane. I was actually, while we're still on this little bit of a break, I wanted to ask you a little bit about, like, if you had to name your top 3 or 4 supports in the world right now, based off of this tournament, what would you say?
Oh, I don't know. I've only seen not even
You've seen
half the
enough.
games. Sure, I've seen enough, but um,
I can't say X Nova, sadly. You know how much I love X Nova, but he's not part of this tournament.
I don't know. Who?
Put it on the line, man. I've got a couple of ones that are a little bit out there. So,
Okay, I'm sure. I'm trying to think of the teams that we've covered mainly that we've got to watch. I mean, Shinkyu, I think he had a good showing when
I want to
we
see
cast at
fives.
Extreme.
I want
You want
fives.
fives? You want five? Well, fives are boring, dude.
They are not. I'll tell you this: Puppy has not made 5 look boring.
No,
Puppy has made
sure.
5 look exhilarating. Like
Sure,
he has legitimately, at 30 whatever years old, he has been the best mechanical 5 in this entire tournament, in my opinion, so far. Like it is that good. The performances that Puppy are putting forward, even in their losses, like he has looked by far their best player. So I'm really happy to see that the old man still got it. He actually got eliminated, but I think the best wards that I've seen so far from fives has been Fishman. Like in their series that entities were able to win, he was always on point with awards. They were always like in really aggressive spots, really understanding where they were going to be looking to make a lot of plays. And probably the only one that can rival that is Maposhka, who we just saw in the last series as well. He's always been on point as kind of like that hybrid between mechanical skill and the warding game.
Yeah, I think DY as well is
Yep,
for
that was
extremists.
my 4th one that I had. So.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll get that one out the way and we get the list done as well. Unfortunately, we have no update on the situation in the secret camp. They are, again, trying to fix some cables. So with that being said, we're going to chuck it over a break. Shouldn't be too long. Hopefully, maybe 5 minutes, maybe they'll work it out. We'll keep you guys updated. When we come back, though, we'll have game 1 with Shopify taking on Team Secret. We are back, ready to get ourselves underway here for game one. Not too long of a tech issue, so Shopify draft ready to go very, very shortly. Shopify going to be on the Radiant side, playing with second pick. Secret going to be on the Die side, playing with first pick as well.
So Secret went ahead and chose first pick. It was actually Shopify that went for the Radiant side, so they chose side, which leads me to believe that they want to be playing a little bit more of that aggressive style. So part of that, of course, banning out the Enigma, good way to be able to a lot of that away and make sure that the position one isn't able to get quite as active as they might otherwise like to be. So for Shopify, I think they really wanted to be trying to get in onto the front foot. You can see the Leshrac already removed, but importantly, there is okay, Storm's gone as well. All right, so maybe they're actually not going to go ahead and pick the IO, but I could still certainly see something like a Keeper of the Light having a lot of value for Shopify if they wanted to pick it up.
Even without a Lesh Storm?
Yep. I think you can just pick offlaner slash, like we saw there with the Razor in that past game, right? Where it was still really effective for that. There were Chakra Magics being given onto a Crystal Maiden because it is so versatile of a spell that you don't necessarily need to put everything in onto one hero like you do with the IO.
10 seconds remaining.
So do you...
I would just Bat Rider. Just Bat.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you shy away from the Bat Rider or not?
No. Oh, no. Too versatile, too flexible, too high of a win rate. 63%, I think, across the Riyadh Masters so far. Ooh, early-ish Darkseer pick. Coming through for Saberlight here, and this is not something that they have... There's no hesitation there, for sure. It really feels like Shopify had something in mind with this, but I do have to say, maybe just because Puppy doesn't exactly love playing things like the Oracle, but
Yeah.
It's got a pretty damn good Enchantress, so I think you could still look to have that up against the Darkseer. And even just with the Shadow Demon as well, if you're looking to play something like a Terrorblade or a Medusa yourselves, and you could just look to yoink away one of those SD illusions.
I think this is pretty much always a crit hero, right? So you're going to be playing Darkseer with a range hero. Do we feel like that really matters too much anymore?
Do you think it has to be? I know you prefer, you personally, Shadow Demon as a position 4, but I would say that for this game in particular, position 5 seems totally fine to me. I mean, it feels a little bit more like Fly's wheelhouse to be able to play a little bit more of the saving style of support and give crit something like, I don't know, even something like a Techies, honestly, wouldn't be the worst. I saw him spamming Earth Spirit in pubs recently, so you never know. He could break out the old Earth Spirit.
Love to see the Earth Spirit. But for Secret, they're going to, of course, go for their Monkey King, something they are very, very comfortable on, being the Chrysalis hero 95% of the time. But of course, Yamich has a very good monkey as well. But very intrigued to see if Shopify, how many bans they put into Poppy's wheelhouse. Maybe it's just the Enchantress, like we were saying. I think overall, though, this could be a very kill-heavy lane for Secret, where it's kind of one of always the biggest weaknesses with the Darkseer, and the Monkey King, of course, being a super strong laner. So I think you have to ban the Enchantress because of the Darkseer counter and the Monkey pairing, but I'm just trying to think of maybe there's some other supports like a Crystal Maiden or some other like strong laning 5s as well to help out.
I would do Ench plus anyone with a root / stun. Is what I would be looking to get rid of, just because, again, we've already mentioned what's good about the Enchantress, but the Monkey King as well. Like, when you pick this Darkseer, you're assuming that you're potentially going to be going into, like, a dual melee lane. That's why the Monkey King was picked up where it was, not just because of the flex and because it's a Chrysalis staple, but because you know that you're most likely going to have a favorable matchup. You want to be playing in melee range as much as possible. So anything that's just going to enable you to do that as much as possible is going to be the best thing, right? And what does? Stuns and slows, and most notably roots against something like a Darkseer. So you're really just trying to remove the potential to like surge away from any sort of kill attempt.
We brought up as well the Primal Beast being something that we saw Secret put a lot of emphasis on in their series versus TSM with the Bat Rider. With the current heroes that we see from Secret and Shopify, do we feel like this is something that could once again be prioritized for the boys on Dial?
Not really into the Shadow Demon. That's the thing that I'm a little bit more worried about. Like, maybe... We don't know 100% where this Bat Rider is going. I think it's going to be a 4 Bat and a 1 Monkey King. But if you go with 3 Primal Beast, you've got the disruption to be able to save, and it basically means that every single time you need to be using the Onslaught onto the SD. And even then, like, if you're on point with your vision, you can still get the disruption off before he actually reaches his way over to you. So I'm not feeling quite as strong about the Primal this time around. Maybe just something else that's just able to get a little bit more in onto the backlines a bit more strongly. I mean, I wouldn't hate seeing, not that he's been picking it up all that much lately, but like an FBZ Doom wouldn't be horrible. You know, you've got the Bat Rider who can go Napalm, Flame Break, the Blood Grenade as well. Lots of kill potential for the lane. Good against a Darkseer if you just land the Doom onto him. Blink Dagger naturally building as well, so good against the Shadow Demon. I wouldn't hate to see it.
Because for Secret though, sorry, Shopify, they're going to have to have the first pick out of the second phase, probably looking for a secondary support more than likely. You already have a bit of a save versus the Bat Rider. Is there kind of some other things they need to tick off the list currently?
Well, they don't really do anything right now is the big issue for Shopify, right? This is just like a sit back and try and farm sort of style of draft. And, you know, it's fine if you want to do that, but you need either to scale massively or you need someone that's going to be able to get a little bit more active. And, well, this is someone that does, right? The Lion, certainly once you reach up onto level 6 especially, is able to make a lot of action happen throughout the map. And it means that we're much more likely going to see that crit Shadow Demon, crit Lion and the Fly Shadow Demon coming through here.
10 seconds remaining.
I think can be one of the better supports to lane into Monkey as well, because whenever he just gets aggressive with the Jingu, you're able to just spike and instantly retreat away if the other support in the lane doesn't offer a stun. So, of course, we will get to see now the Puppy Hero +1, probably FBZ.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we mentioned the Jingu as well. I mean, that's one of the advantages of playing the Shadow Demon against the Monkey King as well, right? Like, you can actually look to just stand and man fight as long as you get that Demonic Purge off onto the SD. There's really nothing at all that you're going to be concerned about. And with this pick, I mean, Team Secret say, all right, you know, you want to just sit back and farm and not really do much? Well, Chen is a do things hero. You know, you've got now the Bat Rider and the Chen that's going to be manipulating creep waves / forcing towers to be pushed in, either with the hero / units itself or just with the creep wave, because there's no Radiant creeps to be able to contest it. This is just giving them a little bit of extra team fight as well to enable the Monkey King to do exactly what we were talking about, right? Stand and fight.
You think they pick the Arteezy hero now that you see you're off lane? And you know you carry match up to?
Yes, I'm just wondering what that might be. I mean, Bloodseeker's banned. That would be the one that would have been at the top of my list for now. Terrorblade into this. I don't know if I would feel that great about it. I just want to see someone that actually makes good use out of the Shadow Demon, you know? Like, they have no way to quickly clear out SD illusions is the big thing for mine. So something like a Medusa or a Naga, or a Naga or a TB would be somewhat viable to me. Probably mostly the TB, I would say, just because you can look to get quite aggressive against the Tidehunter. And, I mean, even if he does Anchor Smash, it's actually not going to do all that much to the TB illusions.
I wonder if they go TB, if then it gives an incentive for Armel to play the Bat Rider then. Just high levels and a little bit more farm priority in the Bat Rider can always prove to be a bit of an issue for the Terrorblade, kind of in the early game and the mid game, being able to hunt him across the map.
I could see that as well. I just feel like you do have saves, right? Like if in the early / mid game, Shadow Demon should be playing around him, both to be able to get the disruptions off, to be able to speed up the farm. Oh, okay. That's something that we don't see too often, but I mean, against the Timbersaw / Tidehunter, we do like to see a little bit of that split between the magic and physical damage. My issue is that you can just get run over as this Luna, right? You've already got the Chen, you've got a Monkey King that can get aggressive, you've got a Bat Rider with the lasso. Yeah, you got saves, but it really just is going to depend on a lot of these stacks being built up and Fly's positioning. Fly's the most important person in Shopify's draft right now.
It is something though, like if any of the, any teams at Riyadh, you're going to kind of put a list of people who prioritize the Luna, you'd definitely say Shopify is like top 3. This is still a team that really favor it. So we'll see how they're going to be able to put a draft together around it. Of course, we are still looking for both Arbed's hero and more than likely Armel's. We don't really know where the Bat Rider is going currently. devs like Secret, they're going to need a way to get onto the Luna. I mean, even the Lion, the Shadow Demon, like these are very position-based heroes, and you don't really have that at the moment. I mean, you did say early on they have great ways to make movements early on in the game, but you still, I think, probably need an active mid lane for RML.
I could see a puck working for RML. Like, it really... Yes, you're playing into a Lion, but there's really no other lockdown outside of that, you know? And it's going to force the Luna to go into a much earlier BKB than she would like. And I really think you can look to take advantage of that. Also, just great synergy with the Monkey King, great synergy with the lasso as well, just to force the snap of the coil. I can really see it working.
Do you think they might have damage issues with the puck, though? Because Chen and Tide don't really provide you damage, and you're going to be going versus Darkseer with auras as well.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I feel like with the Chen, with all the attack speed that you're able to provide, it is something that a Monkey King is one of those heroes that can get a little bit more active than a lot of other heroes. So I think not necessarily. I think this is going to be a game where Secret really want to be playing on the front foot.
Could we be looking at something like an Ember for Shopify? You know, your Ember Darkseer. An active hero for Abed, which is something you were kind of thinking of to start the game, where you wanted him to make some space for Arteezy and Sableye?
I could see it working. You know, the Ember Darkseer is pretty good. Even if they do flex the Batrider to mid, it's not abysmal for the Ember Spirit. You could still lane into it. And against the Chen army, of course, it's going to have a lot of value with those Sleight of Fists. So yeah, I could see it having a little bit more of an impact, but it's so much on Abed's shoulders. But again, you're going to be enabled with the Mel Earthshaker. It is going to be enabled to be able to play it, and it is a flashy style of hero. I'm also just wondering, is there Meepo possibilities coming out here from Abed as well?
10 seconds.
Potentially.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Potentially. Could be very interesting with the heroes they have. I really don't know what a Meepo's. All I see is, does the enemy team have like a bunch of AoE, which not really.
I mean, take JT. He doesn't care. He'll still pick it, you know? He'll pick it from the offlane. And, you know, Abed was one of the original Meepo spammers, so he clearly knows the hero inside and out. The only hero that you're really worried about is Tidehunter, right? Because everything else that they've got essentially is single target. Like, yeah, you got Flamebreak, you got a little bit of Firefly, but Shadow Demon's there for the save. And, well, they're going to go ahead and pick up a Tiny, so obviously... wanting a little bit more of, again, that fast-paced style. This is really going to be Secret balling up around that 15 to 20-minute mark and trying to take away as much of the map as possible. So I think you've got to try and get on the front foot with someone else that's going to be able to, you know, stand and prevent a lot of this from happening. But what is that hero? Like, could they... I don't know if you can consider something like a mid-Mars or something. Against the Tiny, it's not horrible in lane, and it does provide Luna a whole lot of extra safety, but we'll see. DP, okay. Gives them a little bit of extra push, gives them some team fight that they were lacking. I don't hate it, but again, like, it's not flashy for Abed. It's stable, but I suppose they're saying, look, you're not going to get much of a better Luna game with a Shadow Demon being paired together. The lane matchup is pretty good as well, so they're putting a lot of faith into Arteezy with this pick.
Could we see some difficulty on Team Secret being able to deal with from Shopify, where Sableye gets, you know, the auras, where you have, you know, Luna likes to group up early, Death Prophet likes to take objectives as well, and, you know, potentially have Roshan to play with at the early stage? Is this something where, you know, potentially Secret might have some difficulty with dealing with that at like 25, 30 minutes in?
Oh, absolutely. They could have issues with it. But what I'm saying is I feel like Team Secret are ready between that 15 and 20-minute mark. So they'll have the first swing at things, right? If they're successful with a lot of their earlier attempts, then of course it's going to take even longer for Shopify to get online. They might lose a ton of towers. Luna's space to be able to farm up reduces quite heavily off the back of that. So it really, the ball is in Secret's court for the start of this game. You know, can they look to give Armel the start that he needs on the Tiny to get that 10-ish minute Blink Dagger, and we've seen Yamich pick it up in like 12, 13 minutes as well, so they can really look to get active around that sort of time.
Well, I guess then we need to be looking at the lanes, right, and how they get set up. If Secret have really strong lanes, and of course that early timing you're expecting, well, they'll be able to hit it with a harder punch. But if Shopify, and if they continue with the trend that we've seen from them in multiple tours, they're always a team that have a lot of importance on the lane setup. So how do we feel like overall, if we go from like lane to lane, from top, mid, and bottom, do we feel like there are sides who should be favored compared to the other?
I think mid lane should be relatively even. The Death Prophet is going to be able to get her farm. Tiny's going to be able to get his farm. No real contests there. The one area that I feel like they might be able to come out on top of is the Luna lane. Like the Luna plus Shadowed Image should be a fairly strong lane. Whenever they try and make aggressive plays towards you, you've always got the disruption save.
I didn't even see it was Fly playing the Lion.
Oh, they've actually changed it up. Okay.
What
Same sort of thing applies though, right? I wonder if they might even, start with a tri-lane down on this bottom side, right? Because it really doesn't feel like Saberlight is going to be able to make any kills happen. And you've got 2 blood grenades, one on crit, one on fly, to be able to start things off. So it really seems to me like they might be looking to go for that early first blood, give them a solid start to the game, and then snowball from there.
To battle.
I'm sapping your will to live.
All right, well, first move from Shopify. Trying to see if they can maybe spring a trap down bottom. No one's there. They'll go for the second option with potentially taking a fight around the bounty, which we haven't really seen, at least in our cast, like any crazy pre-horn fights.
No, a lot of teams are being very conservative, maybe just realizing the distinct importance that a lot of these first bloods are giving up. How many times have you and I been casting like a lane that should go one way, but then suddenly it's favored the other way just because of that first blood, and they're like, well, a big part of your draft success is suddenly lost.
Yeah, first blood's something else right now, so we'll see. Now this, as the lanes meet for the first time with this series, with Armel and Abed, two very, very talented mid laners. See how they're going to be able to compete against each other as well. What the call even for Armel too? Looks like he's got the treads currently queued up. We've been big fans of the tiny treads since we got to cover Eastern Europe with GPK going that build, and really, not only is the treads the important thing, it's just you don't show up to any fights until you get the Blink Dagger as well. You just play your own game. We will see. Saberlight's already up to his pulling shenanigans as well, top side.
Yeah, but he's not actually going to be able to get it off. That's a big plus for Puppy. He ended up using the Blood Grenade on him there and the Penitence just as he's able to be about to connect through onto the wave. So it was actually really risky for him to stand out for that couple of extra seconds that he would have been needed there to be able to block up the Hill Troll Berserkers from spawning. As bottom lane, they actually nearly get a kill onto Fly, but it's going to be okay for now.
Yeah, what do we make of this lane as well? Because, I mean, Shopify, regardless whether it was the Lion or the Shadow Team and bottom, it would have been a double range setup. It seems like they have a lot of spam from afar, as we're even seeing that be the case as Yamich almost goes down for first blood. But do we feel like that double range setup, are they going to be vulnerable into what Secret have?
I think the important thing is just making sure you don't get, like, double waved. You don't want to be forced to just run away without being able to cast anything under the towers. It would require Fly to like get the most godly double earth spikes underneath the tower into like a stun as they're about to use their attack animation, things like that. And Fly, he's putting himself into harm's way to try and prevent Arteezy from dying, but that all too valuable first blood is going to go over to FBZ.
Which is a scary first blood to give, because I think FBZ, one of his better heroes is the Tide Hunter. I mean, if you go back to the first game is Galaxy with the Boom victory, I think his Tide Hunter was definitely one of his standout heroes. So already has the Ring of Health complete, which is going to be really nice against the poke damage. I mean, this is that's how if you're ever going to get kills down bottom from Shopify, it's just constant spells being chucked out, and he's even got a wand as well. So I think now FBZ, you are more than okay in this lane. You should not be on any danger. Well, maybe Arteezy will be. Another round of the Gush with a Flame Break pushback. As soon as they see the Luna in a minor position where she should not be, they look to jump on that straight away.
Really holding onto that magic wand for the longest amount of time. Really nice Earth Spike coming through from Fly as well. Ended up connecting in onto 2 as Arteezy. Play around that Lotus.
Homage to it.
Yeah, he came into the lane with 2 sets of tangos, so he's really just about making sure FBZ has this solid start to the game.
Does look like all the other lanes are going pretty well. I mean, Narmel's having a great time mid. Abed 2. Top lane, I think this is to be expected. I'm quite impressed with Saberlight 10 and 6. I think a lot of the denies was from that one wave that he was able to drag though, but they've done a really good job with the positioning of the creep wave, which is always important for the Monkey King. You want this long wave to be able to chase heroes down, but because Saberlight is relatively close to the tower, he should be okay.
Yeah, he should be just fine. I mean, I believe I've seen a bunch of stacks already start to be built up by Crit as well, so just with their positioning of the lanes, with that pulling shenanigans that they went on with the second wave, Crit is maximizing his effectiveness, playing one of the best stackers in the business to be able to secure both water rooms as well as build up those ancient stacks.
And who do you think takes the stacks as well for Shopify? Are you looking at the Darkseid to get it, or then I guess the Luna, sure, as the game goes on, but even before the Luna can get over there, is there someone else you want to see prioritized?
I think it's going to depend on the point where, like, is Luna going to get shoved out of the lane really early on? And when is Luna able to get into something like, I don't know, Mask of Madness, just to be able to quickly take that one out? Because otherwise, I feel like Darkseid is having a fine enough lane up here that he doesn't need to revert back to going towards that. Sure, he doesn't have a lot of net worth himself, but the more important thing is that Chrysalis isn't exactly getting a ton of net worth either.
Saberlight? Are they going to be able to win this fight? Crit is freely stacking up the poison, but it's only level 1 in poison, which is a big issue.
Neutral!
Are you? What? Out of all the other damage, and Chrysalis somehow lives on, what, just under 30 health as well? So, like, what just happened?
Dota happened, you know, sometimes things like that just come out of absolutely nowhere, and I mean, I feel like Chrysalis feels pressured to be able to make a lot of this action happen. Again, the reason they picked this Monkey King in the first phase, A, comfort, B, against a melee hero, you want to get the most benefit out of it as possible. C, we know that this Demonic Purge is really going to start to come into effect once Crit gets up onto his level 6, which, you know, depending on the timing of people taking those stacks, he should get it a lot sooner than many other people on this game in terms of supports.
Oh, fly. A little bit awkward. Stuns off the mark. Chucks are going to try and TP top as well. They run into Darkseid. Saberlight already used the Surge. He is committed deep inside Secret side of the lane, and he's going to go down, and that's TP still on cooldown for another 50 seconds. So he was having an okay time. You take a look at the last hits. He's ahead of Chrysalis, but 2 deaths in a row is really going to hurt his progression now.
All right, so maybe he takes the stacks now because he's certainly going to need them to be able to recover. Crit, nicely done to be able to steal that one away from Armel. Are they in a position to be able to go for a kill here is the key question.
Looks like that'll be the case. Armel, no chance he's going to be able to TP out now. Crit has stacked up way too many poisons. Not bad. With the help of Crit, they'll even be able to get a bounty rune as well. Let's see how much damage they can get onto the tower though with the extra. About half duration left. It is a catapult wave 2.
Should be able to get a lot of work done here actually. Uppy, he's slowly starting to make his way towards there with Yamich, but really don't know if a Chen and a Batrider are going to be able to do too much to be able to disrupt this. Maybe just waiting until the Tiny's just about to TP in. A nice flame break back towards the tower, but doesn't seem like they'll be able to convert onto that. Maybe just fly.
A nice rebuttal. Poppy gets the kill. I mean, this is all... You know that FBZ, like we brought up earlier, is more than okay down in this bottom lane. He can solo Arteezy's lane, top of the net worth. Head to the 2600 on Arteezy, so Yamich going to be able to get very active, whether he wants to make some stacks, which they've currently done in the jungle. You can also get the Wisdom Rune as well, which Saberlight, in fact, even took Shopify's one.
Oh. I mean, he needed it, right? Those double kills there. Still level 4.5 or so. The important thing is FPZ, he's building up his own stacks. He's almost reached up onto that level 6. And it's just before the Ravage is off cooldown as well. He's got Meteor Hammer coming out to him too, so really feels like Secret are in a position to be able to potentially make a play around killing Arteezy in this bottom lane and using potential neutral items and that Meteor Hammer to do some damage into the tier 1 tower, open up the map, prevent the Luna the space from being able to farm.
Radiant are scanning.
It's going to be pretty hard to kill FBZ now. Got the Occult Bracelet as well. Of course, Tide Hunter very capable of taking up creep waves, so he's just given himself a bunch of extra regen. Very nicely done.
It might be difficult for Arbed to even consider about coming bottom as well with the Exo on cooldown. I mean, maybe he feels strong enough still to be able to potentially help out with this defense, but it's just slowly going to get ticketed away. And
next Meteor Hammer is just going to go down. Might not even need that.
So How do you then position yourself on the map if you're Shopify? Do you feel like Arteezy should still stick around bottom, play the jungle, shove the lane, and rinse repeat? Or are you already thinking about going towards the triangle?
He still needs that Mask of Madness to be able to make plays. And this is what I love about the Batrider. Yamich is just like, all right, you're making a bunch of stacks for yourself. You're trying to steal away and get some free farm. No thanks. I'm going to be the one to be able to yoink that away from you. I'm going to force you to be on the back foot. And maybe if they see Arteezy not playing on this bottom side of the map, they're going to think, all right, we can set up to potentially invade this Ancients area and steal it for ourselves.
It's like we were, the question we brought up before, who's going to take the stacks? Looks like Saberlight does with the hard camp. He's even going to get the Ancients as well. A couple of shells will be required. This, it's nice though, because it lets Crit get solo experience, and Shadow Demon is definitely a support who loves to be able to pick up a little bit of gold. Bottom lane, first Ravage of the game. Arteezy has a pretty big wand and a Healing Lotus as well, but it looks like it's not going to matter. Boys on Secret, very nice use of that first Ravage, and Shopify, well, they wanted nothing to do with it. In fact, they were TPing mid to try and set up for their own play.
Yeah, they were. Crit, literally the second that they go in for the Ravage, just TPs towards mid, so there's no way for him to know that that sort of play was coming, but it's up costing Arteezy his life, and they're even getting some solid enough damage into this tier 2 tower, or they will shortly.
FBZ's in a lot of danger though. Gonna try and TP up, flash me up, stop that straight away. No sir, don't even think about that. Abed will try and TP mid to even get more value out of the EXO. But Amel's got some boys playing behind him. I don't know if they're gonna get the kill onto Abed though, who's really tanky with the double crown. Won't be able to continue the chase onto Armel, so very nicely done. Chrysalis actually wants to get involved. The double bound the strike, but the jump on forward fly too early with the Earth Spike means that Abed will take a spill and a fly as well. We another casualty of war. Secret had built up a 2,000 net worth lead, and what a rune for Armel.
Of course, it's a regen rune, and they're even checking if there's any sort of stacks built up or themselves. Not quite, but Armel still going to be able to get into that nice early blink dagger. It's already about, what, 700 gold away, 10 or so minute mark. This is pretty much the timing that we
Regeneration.
I haven't gotten the chance to see too many Death Prophets lately. I don't know if you have as well, but what do we think of the Atos build for Abed?
I mean, I don't hate it. It's... I think when you're playing with a Darkseer, you get freed up to be a little bit less like Aura-y. You know, there was that period of time where Death Prophets were going like the Guardian Greaves just because it was going to enable your survivability a bit more, but when you've got a Darkseer, there's not really much point. You know, you would much rather provide a little bit of that extra team fight control, I guess you could say. And, you know, Atos as well, one of the best items in the game in terms of its like stat effectiveness.
And I mean, if you also take a look at like the Batrider and the Monkey, very mobile heroes, so this being able to minimize some of their effectiveness inside the fights. Man, Chrysalis, he went Maelstrom this game. Maelstrom into the Echo Saber, so a bit of an unconventional build, I'd say, but of course, I mean, I'm not gonna doubt the Grandmaster Chrysalis Monkey King, so let's see what he's gonna be able to do with it. We'll see how much farm he can get as well, because I mean, all of Secret 3 cores, 1, 2, 3 in the net worth.
I think the big thing you need to look out in whenever you're playing against a Shadow Demon is that you just...
This is not an easy kill, especially with the TPs coming out. FBZ's got the Ravage at the ready. They're going to try and dump everything onto Abed. Do they have the damage? They do, without a doubt. And now Arteezy, well, he'll still be able to get the finishing blow with the help of the Eclipse. Saberlight's there to act as a bodyguard if required. They might just go for the easy kill onto Crit instead. So Secret, they'll still be able to find a bit of a rebuttal. Saberlight using the surge on someone else means that he might be the attention now for Secret. They'll just put all their spells onto him, and now Fly stuck around for a little bit too long as well. So if 1-1 they go, and Chrysalis is not even done just yet. Oh no, man, Saberlight. Oh, can they get Chrysalis actually? Nah, should be able to jump away. Do Saberlight, he tried to protect his support. In the end, it cost his own life. And then his support still goes down. Secret, what a fight from them.
Sure. I mean, it really is FBZ making a lot of these perfect rotations. Honestly, the whole team, right? Even Chrysalis showing up there with a perfect boundless strike. What I was about to say was, against the Shadow Demon, you got to make sure that you're not building too many stats, right? Because that's the big thing that illusions are scaling off of. If you're just going straight damage, that's why occasionally we see like a Daedalus picked up instead of something like a Skadi, because it really doesn't give the illusion that much extra power, you know? Same sort of thing with a Maelstrom. It's going to provide you with that lot of damage and not really something that the illusions can make use out of.
All right, dude, this is 6,000 net worth lead. What? Oh my god. It's, what's the game plan now? What does Shopify do when you are this far behind?
Let me think. Okay. I'm just trying to think, like, are they in a position to be able to build up any additional stacks for themselves? Because I really do feel like you're playing with a Luna, that's the way to get back into this game. Luckily for RTZ, he's almost got the Dragon Lance, but this is a draft where you really need the Luna to have that early level of farm, and the Shadow Demon to use the illusions in an aggressive manner, or you need the Exorcism. And right now, they've got none of those things. So it's going to be another 30 seconds until they can do anything.
Oh, what an initiation! Oh, Mel gets 3, and now there's no escape for at least multiple of them. Saber's able to get the surge away, but meanwhile, Yarmich is locked on to fly. With the bridge, you're not going to be able to get too much further than that, and they were even hunting as well. Unfortunately, Armel didn't have the blink just up. So, I mean, Saberlight gets away, but another 2 kills into it. Another tower. They're even taking a bit of a stack. The left Ancients too, so, I mean, I don't know where this secret was on day 1, but they are rolling.
This is the area that I was talking about when I'm like, oh, does RTZ need to be in a position to be able to take these stacks? Because he does have the Mask of Madness, right? So he's got the potential to do it. And it would have allowed him to actually join into the back end of that team fight. Obviously, a triple Avatos combo certainly makes you feel like, you know what, I actually don't want to take this fight because they've landed the best possible initiation that they could. But, you know, just to be in the same general area means that RTZ could have potentially been that difference maker like he was around what felt like Shopify's one semi-successful team fight where they were able to take out Armel previously.
Crystalus found him with the Atos.
Nicely done.
That's going to be a big kill that Shopify should be able to find. How does he get out? Okay, he didn't. Oh my god. Did he? What? Someone kill him! Are you serious? He's still alive? What? No way!
He doesn't have a TP though.
I don't care, dude. He's alive.
He is alive. He's alive and kicking, and he's even got Yarmich cutting the wave, so they're not going to be able to continue this push either.
What?
So this big movement from, what, 4 people down towards the bottom side is going to result in absolutely nothing. Is he going to go into the base to buy a TP? Across the lane. Cheeky, even going right in front of that tier 2 tower where they would have had vision even during the nighttime. Maybe acting as a little bit of a taunt.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Dude, if you were already not feeling confident in this game, and something like that happens where you try your best to make a play, and you eat Eclipse and he doesn't even die. That is crazy.
Do Roche as well.
Yeah.
I mean, can they Roche without Crystallis there? I feel like they might need his damage for it. I know Armel hits for a decent amount with this Echo Saber, but I guess they're not really in a position, considering they don't have best status right now to be able to take team fights on Shopify. But if no one's defending this bottom tower with the sort of starts they've had, they should get a general sense that this is going on. So looks like they're splitting up as much as they can just to try and close in that net worth lead a little bit. Damage just doing what all good support Bat Riders do, right? Playing right in front of a tier 2 tower, making sure that you're not able to actually push in that mid lane. They still haven't lost a single tier 1 tower on Secret, and a lot of it is due to Yamich.
They see Arbet underneath his observer ward. It might be a little bit too deep for them. Unless he does go for the camp.
It's up in 5.
They already TP'd a couple heroes top as well, so, I mean, no one is going to be anywhere in the neighborhood even think about protecting Arbed, who's had his 3rd death of the game, and this is, you are not a hero that catches up at all. You want to be snowballing. Bottom net worth out of, I mean, dude, Puppy is 200 gold behind him, so say goodbye to there ever being a possibility of Arbed being a threat as this game goes on.
Power of the Chen, man. You're able to just get a lot of that farm for free, a lot of that net worth for free, and he's even pushing towers on his own as well. It's like it's requiring the entire Shopify roster just to do any damage to a tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, it's a position 5 to put some into your tier 2 tower at this point of the game.
Yamich is somehow reading Arteezy's positioning. I was going to say, if he shows on the courier, dude, he's being so cautious of that creep wave. It's good game sense.
Good understanding as well of how much vision is available during day and nighttime. If that was daytime, he couldn't make that sort of move. There's a Lunar as well.
Meanwhile,
gets a little bit of that extra
Saberlight is going to get lasted up. Armo's in with the combo. Saberlight doesn't have enough auras to keep himself alive with the Crimson Guard. So, I mean, that ward had 2 seconds left, just about to expire. What a perfect time for them to be able to get the jump.
And just more threat being put onto these towers. They'll get some double value out of the glyph here at least, both mid and bottom being protected, but they just use the aggressive glyph, and this is what I want to see out of Team Secret. If you go on a Chen draft, it's got like a 25% win rate so far this tournament. But that's just because a lot of people just don't make the most out of that early advantage, and Puppey is not going to make that sort of mistake.
Alright, high ground time apparently, 19 minutes in.
Yep. All rolling. Got the mech available. It's his fortification, but there's going to be another creep wave right there. They've got an Alpha Wolf as well, so plenty of damage coming through. Hand of God, Mechanism, both available. Solar Crest as well.
Wall's going to get laid down.
Some
chunk of damage onto Crystallis. They're going to be forced to vacuum him back in. Trying to maybe force out some spells, or even the Mechanism might be enough, but that is walled down, so do you just go mid? I guess it's, well, Armel's already there. I was going to say, maybe do you consider about going bottom with the wall expiring, but I'll just get the tier 2 first.
It's not even just the wall, it's the Demonic Purge as well, right? We were talking about how it stops the Monkey King from being able to fight with that Jingu Mastery, but not anymore. You know, if you don't have that constant purge, then he's always going to be able to just, again, stand in front, man fight, especially with that Aegis.
Easy. Can he get out? Yes, he can. It's just, even though they don't get the kill, I mean, yeah, they got the tier 2 tower as well, but it's just important for them to try and run at the Lunar as often as they can to slow down his farm. I mean, that was a ancient camp that he wasn't able to get. They also occupy the triangle and take that away. So, where are you going to be able to catch back up? He'll get the mid wave, but meanwhile, again, like the point I just mentioned, FBZ is also taking away their own jungle, so I'm quite impressed with Arteezy's net worth, but I mean, that goes back to, I guess, the point you brought up with him just knowing the edges of the vision, and, you know, helped out with him farming very aggressive that top side.
Yes, it really is a game of cat and mouse between Arteezy and basically the entirety of Team Secret right now. They lucked out a little bit with at least Crit and his tier 2 neutral item. He's got the Philosopher's Stone, which means that he's almost got into that Blink Dagger for himself. And you're closing in on a couple of big items here for Shopify around the time that Aegis should be expiring. Manta, just a couple hundred gold away for Arteezy. You've also... yep.
Can they fight? They're not all grouped up at the moment on Secret, and Arbet does have boys behind him. Yamich going to be able to drag back one Mimos Armor with a simultaneous toss back into the Wukong's Armel. Incredible spell casting.
I was really feeling buoyant about Shopify's chances moving on forward there, because they got 3,000 gold on Abed right now, and he had a BKB queued up, and I was thinking, all right, you know, level 12, BKB, Manta style, Blink Dagger on your Shadow Demon, those are pretty big timings, especially when you consider that the Aegis is just about to expire, but didn't end up buying anything. He still got all of that gold at his disposal. He ended up losing, what, 300 or so, and it's just setting him further and further back. And well, you were talking about Puppey's net worth. He's ahead of both Saberlight and
Nah. 22 minutes in, and they can jump underneath the T4 tower? Come on now, there's no rebuttal. That just showcases how far behind they are, and Yamich is also hunting onto the side of the map. They should be able to get the kill, especially with a Finger of Death along with the Eclipse. I say should, as they'll drop the sentry to give them vision for the beams, but they're already starting to come around. Look at all the angles they're taking. Crystallis tries to line up the Boundless Strike onto 2, but with the TP getting cancelled, Arteezy's gonna make them run the long way and waste as much time as you possibly can. That time really will not be able to do too much here for Shopify.
It's never a waste of time to kill RTZ. You know, the farmer himself is always going to be the main target for Secret. Obviously, high ground, very, very important to be able to breach, but is a 4 to 19 kill score. Puppy. Net worth lead, man. It's continuing to grow. The greedy captain. He's doing it, and he's even got the Holy Locket finished up as well, so even more survivability for his team. It really does feel like it needs to be like a blink vacuum from the Darkseer into like a 4-man one, into an Earth Spike, into, you know, a full-on Eclipse with Arteezy being able to just stand and right-click. But that's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes that have to come through here. They've got the BKB on Arbit. They've got the Exorcism available. There's no Hand of God. There's no Ravage. There's no Aegis. Can they make the jump? It might require Crit to just be the one on the front lines, like blinking forward to get a disruption off onto someone, but they've read it on Team Secret. They're going to be able to back off. Of course, it's just around that Watcher. They've got the Watcher control, and they didn't even look to remove it on Shopify, so a big part of this movement is going to be scouted out. Just be Puppy that gets gone on, but... Oh, maybe.
Which damage maybe instead? But it's on a Batrider who's pretty mobile, and Secret can react accordingly. Fly's gonna miss the Earth Spike. They'll try and turn to Sableye, who does get outside the Wukongs. This is the fight they've been waiting for. It's still gonna be difficult as Arbed pops to BKB, going toe-to-toe with Crystals, who wants to try and turn to deal with the Crit Shadow Demon. Arbed's doing a lot of damage off the back of the Exo, but once the Jinku stacks are able to come into play, they should be able to chase down with the Death Prophet. With Armel showing up as well, he can just stand his ground. Nothing he needs to fear. Arteezy tries to turn with the Eclipse, but there are just way too many units to soak the beams. They'll still get the kill onto Yamich before the Hand of God. But that was a fight where the Ravage comes out at the last second to secure it. They didn't even need it at the initial round of spells as Secret find 4, and what a worthwhile sacrifice for Yamich. And they call it, and there's no coming back. 24 minutes in, Secret, just another incredible performance from them. This is a very fun Secret to watch.
It is, and that was an annihilation of Shopify. It really feels like they're being dismantled at every step of the way. I'll be honest, I don't see it with this like first pick Darkseer. I think if you're going to Darkseer, it needs to be like at the last pick of the first phase, or somewhere a little bit later into the draft where you can take away some of the bigger counters to it, because once again, it wasn't played with a melee hero, and we never really felt the effect of Saberlight. When I think Saberlight, I'm thinking Giga Chad on the front lines, you know, right-clicking people down. Exactly, suck it. That's what I want to hear him say all the way from Riyadh down here to Melbourne. But, you know, he's playing a little bit too conservative for mine. You know, helping his supports, that's not the Saberlight we all know and love.
Yeah, I don't know. I must say I really don't understand the Darkseer. There's multiple reasonings behind it. I wish I was able to elaborate and get in the minds, but they feel like multiple people feel like there's a big reason why they're picking up. But the games we've seen, it hasn't had a lot of success. So at least for us, you know, we kind of have some recency bias, I suppose we can say, because you know the games we've seen of Darkseer is not looked very good at all. But
the Great Escape.
Yeah, we get to. Sorry, how does he live through this, man? I do not get this.
Not taking damage. Maybe if Crit was like popping the Shadow Poison inside of that, he wouldn't have had the ability to still Tree Dance away. They even pop the Eclipse. He uses the Lotus. He's able to get away even further. They've still got vision of him somehow, but then he lands a 3-man. Oh God, he's too damn good. And you know, there we go. At least Arbed, you know, he's from the sea pubs. He knows that that's just something that you need to laugh and walk off.
Yeah, so, man, this Secret, I don't know, day one was just apparently a blip on the radar for them. They are looking like an incredible team. But look, let's see, they've won 5 games in a row now. They've obviously turned the page, and we'll see if they're going to be able to continue with that, though. That is really the big thing, because I'm impressed, but I need to see this more from them. I need to continue to see the consistency. If they get a 2-0 versus Shopify, all of a sudden we are, you know, starting. There's a bit of a storyline like what is going on with Shopify. They had an early dropout at the Bali Major. They've not looked good so far at the Riyadh Masters. I mean, with that, but before this series, they were tied 5th, 3-5. They're 3-6 now. So we are.
The 2-0 against BBT wasn't enough to convince you about Secret?
Yeah. almost was enough, and potentially with a 2-0 over Shopify, that could be enough to convince me as well. Secret on another level, but it is just game one. Can they continue with this, or is Shopify going to be able to strike back? We'll find out after the break.
حتاكلين تشبع وانت مستمتع وتلاقي الوجبة جاية على الأصول. واو يجيك العيش هش طالع من الأوفن والدجاج يقرمش just the way I love it. وتسوي كده وتسوي كده وتسوي كده مع الحشمة وانت بغراب خفيفة جيب تويستر. أنا جيب لي وجبة الزنجر بس كله يجيب اكسترا تشيز على الكرانشي تشيكن في السنتر. حطلب باكت حطلب زنجر حطلب مايتي حطلب تويستر. جيب له باكت جيب له زنجر جيب له الأصلي جيب له تويستر. Delicious. Yeah.
I don't know what Secret keep having for breakfast today and yesterday, but whatever they are eating, it is giving them some incredible fuel to head into these games. A dominant game one performance from them against the boys on Shopify, and with a game two as well, potentially going their way. Of course, we need to set ourselves up with the draft, and how do we do that then? What do we need to look at in regards to, let's start with the first phase, when we want to look at the bans. Well, last game, it was the Enigma and the Bloodseeker from Shopify. I do not remember what Secret banned out themselves, but let's speak about Shopify's bans. What do we want to see? Do we want to see the same? Do we want to see it changed a little bit?
Shopify's bans this are?
Yes.
Yeah, let the Enigma through. I think you got to get rid of the Batrider, especially if Secret have first pick overall, which I believe they do. They had the priority this time, and they chose first pick. And I think that's a very important thing. For Secret, they banned out the Storm and the Leshrac, something that I think are two very suitable bans. You know, it completely takes away the IO pairing. It's something that Saberlight would love to play with an IO in his lane. I still think you can coddle on Shopify. And I really don't want to see a first phase Darkseer come out from them. You've got second pick. If it's a good Darkseer game, you can go it at pick 18 or 24. So I'm really just wanting to see that look to come out for Saberlight, because I really don't think we're seeing his full potential come out in this tournament. You know, it kind of feels like he's stifled into being a little bit of an aura bot, and him and Abed especially. I want to see playmakers. Death Prophet, we saw him try and, you know, be that big thing for his team to, you know, rally around with the exorcisms, but I mean, Secret were on point with their responses to it, instantly wiped him out before he was able to get the Spirit Siphons off. Give me an Abed Meepo, give me a Ember Spirit, give me a Storm Spirit if it's not banned, but it's not going to be the Storm Spirit, but you know what I'm saying.
There's the Batrider. So both the Bloodseeker and the Monkey King are available for Chrysalis, but of course we're going to have to see a bit of a different opener for Secret.
I still think you can coddle against this. Like, you run the risk that you're just going to pick a Monkey King or a Bloodseeker with this last overall pick. So you basically need to say, all right, well, what isn't going to get absolutely bodied by it? They still go for the IO. Are they going to Legion Commander? Razor, okay. Just trying to pick up the pace. I suppose that is what you look to do when you see this Snapfire, right? Something that's able to take care of a relatively immobile hero. Of course, you have the cookie, but not much outside of that to be able to withstand a lot of these ganks. Doesn't necessarily reveal that it's going to be an Arteezy Razor as well. Could be Saberlight's hero. You still have the option of putting Arteezy on the Razor and give Saberlight another one of these heroes like the Legion Commander that we were talking about. You know, a duel into a relocate. You're going to be able to secure that almost every single time. So, for Secret, I'm wondering what they go for. I mean, to me, this is Bloodseeker that you're needing to get rid of, right? Like, it's, well, if you feel confident in flexing the Snapfire to 4, I would Bloodseeker, because I don't think you could Bloodseeker and Snapfire, because you're going to have this really weak period from like 20 to 35 minutes where you're just not quite able to fight. Like, Bloodseeker will be able to, but Snapfire won't, and vice versa. So I just feel like there's too big of a window where you can get exploited if you did go down that route.
We have also seen teams prioritize the silencers so far in the first phase to address the IO. I don't know how... Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, I don't know how different that would be like with a Razor, if that kind of changes things there, but Secret, back into the Monkey King, you know, I guess.
It doesn't have to be Chrysalis, remember. Yamage plays it a ton, so this still keeps a little bit of flex available for them, and keeps them guessing somewhat on Shopify Rebellion. What they need to be banning out now is just teamfight. You want to make sure that if you are using these relocates, Secret aren't able to just turn it around on you with these big AoE spells, right? Especially with that Legion Commander still in the pool. I would honestly even just ban the Legion, honestly, just to take away a little bit of that flex potential, to make sure that they don't have that easy setup. But, you know, things like the Tide Hunter, things like even the Ember Spirit, honestly, are able to set up relatively well for some of these IO ganks.
Team Secrets turn to
Probably
ban.
put Tiny in that pool as well.
Have you been impressed with the Tiny games? I know Tiny did just get a victory, but like overall, what are you feeling about the hero? Because we saw at Bali Major had some pretty good games. We've seen a couple times so far. So what are your current opinions on that hero?
Anything that doesn't have a lot of downtime and is able to be, you know, relatively active relatively early on, especially AoE wise, is going to be a big winner for mine. So I still view Tiny as like a top 20-ish hero in the pool. I really think it's got a good place, and you've got a little bit of flexibility of it as well. We've seen, plenty of good support tinies come through, but of course we saw Armel that time around just die. I want to say that twice throughout the entire game, but there were deaths that still resulted in big team fight wins for Team Secret.
10 seconds remaining.
I just want to continue with your Legion point as well. Shopify played the Irish strat the Ire draft 3 times. In all those games, it's been paired with a Legion commander too.
And a Lesh, I think, as well. Like, it's just been in every single one. So, like, the Ire's been there for the lane, the Lesh has been there for the game. So it really does feel like something that they feel incredibly comfortable to just go back to the pool to.
And if the Legion does get let through, then Sky is something that they really like to fall back on as well. So we will see though. Of course, I don't think you're going to ban the Sky. I think it's really just to combine with the Legion commander. But what is it called from Secret? They got rid of TA, which is something that Shopify previously ran with the Ire Venomancer as well. I imagine just the lane to the Monkey King.
I could even just see something like a Crystal Maiden for Shopify, honestly. Just something that, gives a lot of mana regen, gives a little bit of team fight control, really strong in the lane, make sure that you don't have like 2 really weak lanes, so that when it does come time to make the most out of this IO, that the other heroes don't have anything to be able to make plays with. I would feel totally fine with it.
What do we make of the potential of this Raze actually being off lane?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I mentioned that at the start. It could be a 1, it could be a 3.
Yeah.
I like this from the Lion as well. Doesn't necessarily reveal a lot, and it also opens up so many avenues for ganks to be able to come through once the Blink Dagger comes online. I mean, we saw that Fly played it in the last game. I feel a little bit more confident if Brit were to play it, but I mean, if this is the IO, I suppose you could put it off lane or safe, but I would feel a whole lot more confident if it was a position for Lion, just to be able to get into that early-ish blink timing. Ooh, FBZ Mars. We like to see that.
Yes, we do, and it's also a pretty decent lane versus the Razor, so always going to be able to separate yourself, especially if it is going to be a Snapfire in that lane too. Can very easily get out. I was thinking of a potential AT for Poppy. I know you're not going to be too upset about an Untitled. I'm just thinking of like more AoE versus the IO. I'm also trying to think of... we brought that up earlier as well. So yeah, look at the team fight on Secret, dude. So Shopify... Yep. I think it's probably too late to go down, dabble a little bit in team fight. I feel like you just have to go all out on being not relying on cooldowns and just look to play the map and run over Secret. You're going to need some way to take objectives as well. That's kind of the big issue they currently have.
Yeah, I suppose so. I'm just thinking, could they get away with their own Tiny here for Abed? I could potentially see it working, just to be able to have, you're a decent IO pairing in the middle-ish stages of the game. You just hit like an absolute truck. You give a lot more of that attack speed. It means that, you're able to quickly wipe out a silencer.
Is it a decent IO pairing?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Sure. It's just funny when someone says that, because I instantly think IO tiny, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely not.
It's
as
not
good
2013 anymore,
Yes, no, that is 10 years ago, but but there you go. There's some of your push, right, with the Beastmaster.
It's push, and it's, again, you can run the IO with this, so it's I think it's a very viable thing. I would say it's a little bit more likely that it's just going to be an IO Razor, but again, you mentioned that, well, it really depends, right? Maybe level 2 on the Lion, it's going to be stun into Hex into Static Link, and just making sure to be able to punish the fact that you're not going to have that spear to be able to break the Static Link. But it really does rely on a lot of BKB timings to come out here from Shopify Rebellion. Just to be able to run through the arena, to be able to not care about the Snapfire at all, to be able to cancel out the Global Silence. Very, very important tools to have.
So currently we have a little bit of flex that we need to work out on Secret in regards to if the Snapfire is going to be mid or as a 4. Currently, do you have a preference?
No, not particularly. I'm really just looking at a lot of these bans as to what they're looking to try and do. I mean, the Primal Beast being banned out by Secret means, okay, we don't want them just to have even more potential to just run at us and take out Silencer / Snapfire. And you would have to say that Snapfire is by far the one that's in a little bit more danger off the back of that, right? Like you're going to be the main target if you are especially being played as a core. You want to make sure that you're wiping that one out, making sure that there's not going to be any sort of levels being gained by the snap, and looking to punish the game as much as possible. Like, make no mistake, Shopify are playing fast this game. They're done with these late oriented styles. They want to make sure that they can just swarm over Team Secret. The thing is, they don't have great team fight to be able to do it, right? Like, Team Secret have the potential. Mars is probably one of the better ones for a lot of these early kill attempts that Shopify are going to go for to be thwarted entirely.
Radiant team ban.
It's another really good ban with the Timber Saw. One that would have allowed them to just rip on through. Would have been a bit more of an active hero for Abed as well.
Can we look at something like Alina for Armel?
We could, but I'm still a little bit worried about, like, what if they just puck against you or something like that, you know?
Yep.
Hold you in place, extra stuns, more static link guaranteed, another way to get on top.
Yeah, my reasoning is because you don't see your mid matchup, and I think Mars, Monkey, and Nice to play in front, but if Shopify get towers and... Like, that's kind of mid to
Give me
late
a coddle
game.
on Secret. That's what I want to see.
Okay.
I think that'll be enough with the Mars to be able to give him a strong lane, to be able to like, Monkey King is going to be going against the Beastmaster. That's a fine enough lane for the Monkey King, and it's going to be able to make space for the Snapfire to be able to, you know, get into that dangerous position. Honestly, even a Chakra on the Snap feels pretty devastating as well.
Yeah. At least they currently feel like there's some wild flex on Seeker, whether the Monkey King be played as a 4, and of course, like we said, the Snapfire to go mid. Mentioned a lot that, yes, Chrysalis has a very good Monkey, but even Yamage can play it, but trying to cover their tracks here for Shopify.
I don't think you want to play it into a Razor lane, though.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Well, let's see. 10 seconds left for Secret. What's the call going to be? Whether they continue with the flex.
Radiant team pick.
What the heck? All right. I mean, it
could be the support Terra play. You never
yuck.
know. I'm still waiting to see it a second time, man.
Maybe they were going to run the Monkey with the Terrorblade.
That's a quick response.
What is going on?
Mid Beast? No, mid Razor.
Razor.
All
It would
right.
be very interesting versus Snapfire, actually. I mean, you have Cookie, but that's not enough in a solo lane where Razor's going to have boots and potentially win lace. This is a very interesting look at the draft that we have. I mean, on paper, like, if you speak about the Terror, like before the Naga Siren was picked up, I mean, Terrorblade with Skadi against Razor is always a very big issue, can be difficult. You can blow up the Razor before the static link is like too much of an issue. And then, of course, Inner Beast, stealing all the auras on Beastmasters, super, super nice as well. But then, you go for this crazy flex. You put the Monkey King as a 4, a Snapfire goes mid, and then Shopify, like, all right, you're going to flex, we're going to flex as well. Let's go Naga.
I mean, I understand where you're going for with the points about, like, the Skadi, but again, it's a Razor, right? And Skadi no go through BKB anymore, so that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
Especially considering Razor is one of those heroes that goes a pretty damn early BKB, so he's just going to be running at this Terrorblade. He's not going to be stopped by really anything that Team Secret have to throw at them. They've got nothing that goes through the BKB in terms of disables. They've got the Global Silence, sure, but beyond that, there's really nothing. And also, the Lion, you've got the Mana Drain for the TB Illusions as well, so nice little way to at least reduce a little bit of the damage output. I honestly don't know how I feel about this. You know, Yamich playing the Monkey King into the Naga Siren plus Io pairing seems like it'll be okay. I'll be honest, I haven't seen a lot of him actually play the Monkey King. I just know that he does a lot. So Abed playing on this Razor, I think he's going to have a totally fine time against the Snapfire, but it's really just going to be dependent on a lot of those rotations coming through from Crit. At least it's Crit playing the Lion this time. I want to see him greed it up a little bit more, get a lot of that experience, get into that early Blink Dagger timings, and always be in a position to be able to TP to save the Snap when it inevitably... no, never mind, the Lion's on the wrong side. Whatever. It's going to be a close game.
All right, close game. That's... I like to hear that. I believe in Shopify. I think I'm just a bit too concerned. Maybe they got a bit too cute for themselves on Secret. We have seen, at least the games that we've covered, with a Snapfire with another like hard carry. It's just been way too slow, and Shopify's lineup, you kind of want to be going up against a team that is very slow to be able to, take control of, open up the map with the Beastmaster, and then be able to get pickoffs with the Lion setting up or the Beast setting up. Even the Naga can set up as well for that matter too. So I think Shopify, there's a lineup that thrives on being able to play fast, and Secret, they do not want to verse a lineup that kind of does that. So with that being said, I think as this game goes on, I would say, Secret, like ultra late game, like 40 minutes in, if this is a pretty even game, even if they're down by like 10k, I'd say you'd probably be in a pretty happy position, but I just don't think we'll get to that stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to be dependent on like how low do the BKBs eventually get if it does go that late. Is FBZ able to go into like a refresher orb eventually on his Mars? These sorts of questions need to be answered. Also, the thing that I'm constantly just weighing back and forth in my head is what sort of build is Arteezy going to go? Because a lot of people have flamed him for having just like one set style where it's just farm and do nothing else. End the game with a ton of farm, but not too much impact. But he's shown in playing the Naga Siren in recent series that he is not one to shy away from going the Orchid. Doesn't do it every single game. He still can just sit back and go for a little bit more of the farm-centric style. And you would have to say that against a Terrorblade with a Naga or any like mass illusion hero, that is certainly a possibility that they might just look to, greed it out. But I'm just not sure how well it fits into the rest of the draft.
Look at the setup top lane. Popping Yamich in the trees. We're meant to crit first, and this should be a easy first blood. Would have loved to get it onto Stabilized Chrysalis comes and yoink it, but of course that is more than okay for the carry to claim it.
For sure. Damage coming back down towards the bottom side, making sure that FBZ isn't left solo for too long.
Is this not a free Mars lane though? Because didn't we see... Who did we see? Oh my, who's like one of the better... I can't remember. I'm thinking of MR, but I can't think of like some other really good Mars. Anyway, we saw a Mars like really recently where that went like a 0-2-1 build and went like double Bracer, and I think it was like an IO +1 lane, and he just free farmed. So I'd kind of like FBZ to do that this lane. I think he's going to have a pretty good time with an early point in Bulwark.
I think it was against a Sven though, one where the cleave was being reduced a little bit by the Bulwark. Obviously, it's still going to be nice against the Naga Siren, but I don't know. I think you do want to enable yourself to be able to respond to a lot of these eventual like gank attempts, right? You know that a Razor is going to be in a position to do so, consistently making those dives. Once the ultimates start to come out for both the Lion and the Beastmaster, it's a similar sort of situation. That's great. Speaking of the Lion, he's getting dived a little bit, and ooh, he's barely going to be able to survive.
Wow. Has to pop the Selv and regen up. So intrigued to see what the build's going to be for our beds. Got the Treads currently queued up for the Razor. We also got to see Uragi play an exceptional carry Razor performance earlier in the day, where he went for a Maelstrom. Also wanted to dive into the Ag Shard at an early stage. So very intrigued to see what the difference is going to be from a mid Razor compared to a carry Razor.
I think the mid-Razor could still afford to go into something like that Maelstrom, right? You can look to go into a Glypnir if you wanted a little bit of that extra control, but against a TB with all of his armor, feels not too bad. Against a Mars who might have that Bulwark up, feels not too bad. And even if Yamich pops the Wukongs, all that extra armor going to be negated as well. So I could see it working out if he just needs it as like a farming accelerant. Also seen a lot of mid-Razors look to max out the plasma field instead of the static, especially against some of these more ranged opponents. But he's in a pretty consistent position as he actually uses the Fortify as well to try and chase up onto Armel, but able to use the Fairy Fire to prevent his death.
So just to mention, both Shopify side lanes were able to pick up the Healing Lotus. Little extra advantage that they're going to be playing with in the lane.
Especially with an IO, right? You just get the double benefit out of that one there. Yamich is just being a courier sniper right now. This is what I was talking about, right? I was really like, what does the Monkey King really do in this lane, It doesn't feel like it would have the same level of impact as potentially the if it was being played as a 1. But if he's already got 2 careers at this point in time and is able to snipe out a punch, he might end up dying here, though.
He's had enough of the Monkey King shenanigans. Yeah, they should be able to get the kill onto Yamich. I guess meanwhile inside the river, Armel make an attempt onto crit as well. Looks like there will be a rebuttal. Arbed might be able to clean up, though. There's nothing Poppy's going to be able to do to dissuade Arbed from continuing to steal the damage, and Arbed gets a solo kill.
All right.
Meanwhile, FBZ is also going to get chased down as well. They're going to try and TP in Yamich, but a little bit too late. He's not going to go for a kill onto Fly, but...
The Lotus.
Hang on a second. Yamich, this is not looking too good, my friend. Arteezy has the ensnare back up. He's going to get the illusions in front of the Monkey King. What is the damage? Is he going to he's going to get out as well? Did he high roll?
I'm not sure what happened, but he's got the Blightstone as well, so Io doesn't have a ton of armor to be able to play around with, so he's able to just get a really big right click in onto him, gives him enough to be able to finish up that Orb of Corrosion as well, so a little bit more survivability, a little bit more harass potential as well. Certainly wasn't expected coming through there from Fly, but at the end of the day, you still were able to kill FBZ.
This is going to be a scary thing, though, for Armel to deal with, the collapse onto mid lane. With the Io being able to buff up Arbed's movement speed and crit being able to wrap around as well. So I do believe they are at least aware. Poppy was able to scout out crit with the Observe Ward by the secret shop, I think. I thought there was one there, unless it's expired, or I'm just blind.
This is one of the big reasons why I was saying that I understand your reasoning behind wanting the Bulwark against the Naga Siren, but I think you know that is inevitably coming towards the Snapfire, right? You got to make sure that you've got the maxed out spear to be able to prevent any sort of kill attempts and even potentially turn it back around onto Arbed.
Yeah, but I more wanted like a level 3 where you go 0, 2, 1.
I understand that, but I think you just got to get as many points into the spear as Mars as you can by like when you're level 6, so that when they're looking to dive you can TP and drop the arena, get a max damage / duration, stun with the spear, and then maybe turn around the kill onto the Razor. Yoink. Wisdom Rune.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Oh, Wisdom Rune. Healing Lotus.
Illusion Rune? It's okay. Oh, heal. Oh, no. Healing
yeah,
Lotus.
no, completely different.
Okay. They're even going to rotate crit down to bottom, so a bit of an investment out of Shopify with Fly being here as well.
Yamich is nowhere nearby. He's scouting out that there's a stack built up. He's blocked up the ancient camp, and he's pinging out the fact that I'm over at the Wisdom Root, so make sure that you're backing up a little bit, FBZ. Don't want to give your life away for free, and lucky for him, he's going to be able to body block the creep wave so that he is fighting right in front of his tower. So it's going to take a lot to be able to kill him. Looks like Puppy's in position to make sure that one does not just get yoinked away.
And very cool from Sableye. It's not going to matter in the end, but it was a minor thing where he used his courier to scout up the trees if the monkey was perched up there. It was cute. It didn't help him secure the Wisdom Room. Maybe if he was positioned on the left side, he could have cut down the tree, but he just got a little bit unlucky there. But that's, you know, the kind of little things that sets people apart.
I'm just loving the positioning from Yamich, right? Like, he's always seems to understand when FPZ is safe and when he needs to make sure that he's, you know, in a position to potentially give up his own life for the benefit of the Mars. You know, Mars, not an amazing laner. It can be when you're being paired together with, like, a ranged support, being able to set up for a lot of kills, but certainly this isn't the case this time around. Aya provides way too much sustain, Naga's got way too much movement speed and armor to be able to prevent deaths a lot of the time. So the fact that he's been able to get FBZ off to this solid enough start and then leave, be a bit of a menace throughout the rest of the map, being able to drop down sentry wards, scout out wisdom runes, yoink those away. Maybe, I doubt they're going to go into Arteezy. I think he's just being annoying as possible, potentially trying to bait TPs from Shopify.
I like this now, because, I mean, you've got your ultimates to combine with, right? You've got Arena, you've got Kisses. So it's time to go. You want to try and take a fight. They've got a pretty good Observe Ward as well. They're going to run into Fly first. Poppy's in a great position to combine with the Cookie. And that's going to be Io down for 20 seconds, which will help open up the bottom tower. They're also going to see Arteezy starting to wander away from the area. They're going to be cautious about their own safe lane, though, because Shopify, they're making their own play across the map.
It'll be a little bit slower, though. Got Crystallis there with the Sunder available. He knows that this sort of attempt is coming, so He's going to back off into the jungle. Doesn't have an observer ward to be able to play around with, but they got a very brief glimpse, I believe, of them starting to come through. Will it be enough for him to be able to get back to safety?
They're going to get him. Very nicely done. There's a level up in the Sunder. He's going to be able to get it before the Roar, but it won't matter in the end. They're still going to surround him and secure the kill. So you're pretty happy with that. You're probably going to get the tower nonetheless. Saberlight doesn't have the helm dome. Maybe not actually.
They've taken bot tower. They've got TPs available on Secret to be able to get back up to the top side. Looks like Puppey is just walking up there. Doesn't have the twin gate or the potential movement, but Yamich and Armel absolutely do. Orc's going to scout out this movement though.
Puppey's 6 already. Okay. Runs into Crit, who will also TP out. Yamich. Very close.
Double Wisdom Rune helps. Being able to pick
That's
that sort of
true.
stuff
Yes,
up.
it does. No Glade Point though, so it's not going to be like... Was it DY that we actually cast? I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, but it must have been. Because it was... Yeah, I think it was Extreme versus PSG LGD where we saw the silence to have like 30 intel at such a stupid stage of the game. Just rush refresher.
No worries about being able to actually cast double global silences and the refresher of, yeah. I see why.
Dire's courier.
Can they get to DD?
Yeah. Ramel.
So
we haven't even seen this big team fight have to happen
Yeah.
from Secret. That's the big plus side for them. You know, we was thinking that maybe you would have been able to get a little bit more out of this early game from Shopify, just off the fact that the lanes are fairly good. But the fact that Snapfire is still second on net worth is a huge plus. I mean, Armel, he has been bossing at this tournament, and he's almost into his ATOS, so maybe they're about ready to make one of those fights happen.
That was the question I was just about to ask, is actually Yamich pretty good positioning. See the Razor. Yeah, I was just going to ask, like, do you actually feel like Secret? Because this feels like guaranteed kills. Arena, Mortimer kisses, someone's dying. And I was going to say, like, do you feel like it's not that good that they haven't been able to get those kills? Because it feels guaranteed. But I guess if you use your ultimates right, then Shopify can walk down a lane and get whatever they want, knowing that these abilities are on cooldown. They don't have to fear too much.
Yeah. Window to be able to do that sort of thing. Right now he's just focused on rushing in towards that blink. But you're very closely going to have the Helm of the Dominator or Saberlight, so at least he is going to be able to convert, you know, even a drawn team fight into kills on this Beastmaster, right? Whereas if you made a play a little bit sooner, they might win the team fight or draw even, but they wouldn't have been able to do anything on shot. Them, this minute or so of peace is going to do them so much good.
Amel being level 9, we even... I mean, it's very early on, 2 minutes until the next Wisdom Rooms, but even more vital with a Snapfire, so keep tabs on how either side's looking at position, because it's really hurting the Shopify supports. Crit just hit level 6. Watch for Fly, he's still not there just yet. Very close to having the relocate. Do you think once Fly gets his ultimate, they're probably going to look to try and make a play across the map on Shopify?
Sure, but I mean, that might also be a reason why Secret haven't done it just yet, because they want Puppey's ultimate to be available for when Shopify try and make something happen with the relocate. You know, if you could just bait out a relocate and then just global for it, then you know that you've got the outnumber, right? Like, there's not going to be two highly valuable heroes in the middle of that team fight, and that's huge at this point. Picking out FBZ for now, but again, he's even been left solo as well, so he's going to be able to get into this Blink Dagger at a pretty early-ish timing. And this is what you want out of the Mars, right? A lot of times you can get caught out.
Oh, no. Alright. Well, why not? He's getting antsy, it seems like. Puppet might get chased down, but Hookie's still there. Yeah, it feels like kind of an antsy ult, and he's like, haven't used it just yet. See freebie onto the line. Why not go for it? Oh, you probably walk down top now.
Possibly, but again, like FBZ has been farming down here for quite some time. They know that he's going to have his next item pretty soon. As to what that is, I'm sure they're not 100% solid on it, but Dagger's coming out. He might even look to take the Twin Gate up there, force the wave in one last time before he makes that sort of play.
Very nice read as well from FBZ. I mean, he's scanning illusions now, but nonetheless, it would have hit on the heroes that are currently moving down bottom for Shopify, so an incredible read from him. SR tried to slow down this blink timing. It is already completed.
Is indeed. He's also just making sure to play around that area where they could look to invade for the Wisdom Rune. Crit's trying to get around it, just be able to be the sneaky invader, and it looks like he's got behind enemy lines to be able to make it happen. So this is a big plus for them. We were talking about how the Shopify supports were being a little bit behind, but Crit off the back of this, who's got the quicker fingers?
Oh, dude, he almost jumped over it, but does he have to arena for it? You definitely don't want to, and it looks like he won't have to. He'll be able to catch up, especially with Armo here as well. So both Wisdom Runes, by the looks of it, went the way of Shopify.
Yeah, be happy with that, I would say. You know, a slower game. I don't think Shopify need to be active from like the very beginning. That's the thing, right? We talk about how this is a lineup that can just run down lanes, but you got to make sure you're ready to do it. Abed doesn't quite have the BKB just yet. He's about 600 gold away. That's really the timing that they're looking to go for. You've got the mech as well on fly available. You're almost closing in on the Vladimir's offering or Saberlight as well. So you've got a lot going your way. And they might be able to take this tower, but not on Secret's watch. They're going for a smoke to try and defend every single tower that they can. They want to have a flawless series.
It was a really good Hawk placement, though, from Saberlight. Was able to scout out that 3-man smoke, so you see them playing accordingly. Both Fly and Saberlight going to back on up. Even Crit tries to TP mid to get himself closer towards the Blink Dagger. They will invade into the triangle, but they're not going to run into anyone.
Careful here. They've already used the Eye of the Storm as well on Abed just for farming purposes. So if they did jump in onto him, at least he's already going to have that running, even if they're perfect with their spell usage and their stun combinations. The real question is someone going to show up to try and defend this mid tower? Armel's kind of acting as bait right now, alongside that siege creep, and things are happening. But yeah, the scan is there. They know they've got everyone backing him up, and I think as soon as they see nobody revealing in here, the team fight is advantages Team Secret, so you may as well put multiple heroes in there that are just going to allow you to take this tower as quickly as possible.
Very passive game, but it is about to
look at all those
open.
creeps up on the top side as well.
Ooh, I mean, someone is going to want this farm. I guess Crystalus maybe with a TB can get it, but yeah, the tower might go down before. Yeah, Monkey's like, all right, there's a lot of experience for me.
A lot of Skelly boys going to be able to take out. Also, nice little aggro onto the creep wave, so might be able to protect this tower, but the Skelly's just way too strong. So little things going Shopify's way, right? You've almost got enough for the Helm of the Overlord now. You would love to be able to just take out that bottom tier 1 tower for free. Just use one of the Beastmaster creeps to be able to do it. It's still going to be a little bit until Crit gets into that Blink Dagger for himself. Yeah, look at Arbit. He just wants it for free. You know, just a quick take that's going to perhaps bait out a glyph that would have put a lot of stuff on cooldown. We got this.
Like 0.2 seconds away from Arteezy's TP getting cancelled from Armel's Atos.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's go time. Let me see a fight, boys. Come on, what's going on? 10 kills, 17 minutes in. Last game we had plenty of kills. But it is time now for some action. Secret know it as well, though. They're starting to part their way top.
Man, Abed just bought a Wraith Band. He just wants to be at absolute maximum fight.
Oh, FBZ jumps into the middle with a Global Silence along with all the ultimates. So they're going to be able to get more than one kill off the back of this. Fly still alive, and they shrug off the scary team fighters. Abed, he didn't even pop his BKB. These guys got some balls of steel to trust the IO. And well, now this is where it opens up, and yeah, they're gonna maybe even consider about Roche as well.
How long do they got left on that Eye of the Storm? It's just about to run out. I'm not sure if they have the damage potentially to do it, but I guess maybe with an Io they're feeling relatively confident. They popped the arena, they popped the Mortimer's Kisses, and they used the Global Silence as well, so really be able to stop them from looking to take this one, even if it's just a slow chip down. But what it does mean is that Secret's heroes are going to be able to take multiple lanes of farm for a few minutes, and Yamich, he's going towards that Lotus Orb for himself, so you know, I feel like he's going to be looking to use that onto FBZ. You know, FBZ is the frontline jumper, but they're going to make sure that they've got that Lotus Orb onto him to be able to back him up for the eventual usage of the Static Storm, the Roar, everything else that he's got coming his way. There's my answer of whether Arteezy will go full-on farming route or if he's going to look to get a little bit more aggressive, especially with the Aegis in their arsenal as well. Like you mentioned, not even popping that first BKB for Abed. Yoink a quick bounty rune for himself. Still look to play aggressively. And this is where I really feel like Shopify are at their best. You know, when they're playing on the enemy side of the map, when they're playing aggressive, their Dota. They're playing their Dota. They're not trying to react to what the enemy team's trying to do.
And not only like their best as a whole, but like this game in particular, like this is, I feel like, one of their strongest timings this game. You just got Blink as well, just completed on crit. This is where you need to really build a lead this game, because otherwise, like we said, if this game gets kind of later and later, it is going to be a bit scary for them. So you have plenty of time with the Aegis. You've still got, what, 4 minutes, just under now. You need to be able to convert on this advantage that you have, and this can all start from crits. Blink reveal. Gonna be able to jump. Saberlight, he's got the raw follow-up as well. Not before Puppy gets the force into the defensive global silence as well, but Armel, he'll still go down, and Arteezy's wraparound means that Yamich is caught inside the lane. Arteezy, we've got a song just to help them close the distance. But he's soaking all the damage away from the Terrorblade. It's going to render Crystallis completely useless. What an orchid timing. As soon as FBZ tries to counter-initiate a Shopify, an incredible team fight from them. The spell casting was perfect.
It was, and they know that there's no glyph as well, so they could just, zoom this one down, take the tier 2 tower. They've got the Helm of the Overlord timing. They've got the great initiation from crit. This is what I wanted to see in the last game with the Lion pickup, right? We just never saw that Blink Dagger come out for fly. This time around, it's a pretty quick one for crit to be able to make plays like that with.
And now, how do you play the very fun game of Dota that it is for Secret? You've lost the tier 2 mid. You're going to continue to lose your map. Like we keep saying, this is a lineup that wants to go late. Need a lot of farm on your heroes. FBZ had a great start, but you take a look at the net worth. Dude, has he... Where's all his gold gone? I don't know how he's this far behind, but it's going to continue to be that way. With you have to somehow share the farm between a Monkey support, which is kind of greedy, a Terrorblade, a Snapfire that wants to scale. Like, this is not going to be easy.
Well, he's all you've got to be able to start fights, right? That's the thing. And it feels like they've been wanting to go around these times where they feel relatively strong, around the Atos, around the Force Staff, around the Boots of Travel, but it just hasn't eventuated. And I think it's really important that Yamich gets into this Lotus Orb, because right now, FBZ, you saw there, he got orchided, so he wasn't able to drop that arena. He wasn't able to save the backlines off the back of, the Song of the Siren and everything else that came out afterwards. So if Yamich is able to get into this Lotus, suddenly FBZ is even more enabled this game.
Again, with the Wisdom Room timing, this time Armel was able to get it for Secret. Shopify's is still standing, but of course they've got other things on their mind. Saberlight gets a free T2 tower, whereas the rest of the team, they're on the other side of the map. They didn't have to be there to protect him, so they're getting so much currently.
They got pretty good vision right now on Shopify all throughout the map, just with the Naga Illusion scouting on the bottom side. You've got an Observer Ward up top. Of course, you've got the Beastmaster Hawk, just basically getting a sense of every single avenue that you've got throughout the game. Very important as well that Armel, he's just gone the fairly standard build for the Snapfire, so it's important that he is the one to get the Wisdom Rune there, to make sure that he is the one getting into a lot of that experience and getting as close to that level 20 as he can as quickly as possible.
Seems like they're doing a pretty good job though to choke out the map. Arteezy's playing away from the team. You got 3 people around mid, even 4 now with crit. They easily can connect. Portable lane is required. That is one thing I have not brought up. The Lion TB with dealing with the illusions.
Yeah. Very, very quick way to be able to do it. They don't quite... Well, they see the courier, but they're not quite able to reach it. So you've got the Lotus Orb now available. Arteezy's closing in on the heart, though. So he is going to be very, very hard to kill. And the one thing that I want to commend about Arteezy's game this time around in particular, not just the fact that he went into the early-ish Orchid that allowed them to win that previous team fight, but a lot of the times when you're playing Naga Siren, it's pretty hard to, get everyone else up in terms of experience on the map, because you're just taking everything. You're able to shove in multiple lanes, but this time around, you've been able to split the map up because you've got an IO supporting the Razor, you've got a Beastmaster who's supported by his own creep and is very tanky and can just take a lot of these ancient stacks. And Arteezy's actually using, I think, only one of his illusions, sometimes 2, to scout out where the enemy team is. So it's not always for farming. Sure, he's farming, he's doing it in pretty safe spots, but he's actually using his illusions as like a scouting tool, even as a position 1. So big kudos to him for switching that part of his game up and playing a little bit more for the team.
This is a great read. I don't know how they got it, but Shopify Very close to Secret Smoke. They will go the long way around. Secret Scan does connect. But Arbed with a great position on the higher ground. Gets the static link before the Lotus Orb is delivered over. Now with the BKB as well, Arbed, he's going to be freely enabled inside the fight. They want to kill Puppey as well before the Global Silencer. Now, how does Secret ever have a successful fight when it starts like that? As Chrysalis, they're going to be able to chase him down. Plasma up in a couple seconds. We need to look at the blink as well. Where is Crit? He's gone for some different targets instead, as well. He's actually not even with the boys. Wanted to deal with some vision. And they will not be able to cancel the TP of FBZ. But, I mean, if fights continue to start like that, it's not going to look easy for Secret.
It's not, but again, at the end of the day, you didn't use meta. You only really used Wukongs at the end of that, right? So you've got the Global Silence. They don't have a BKB on the Razor. You don't have Finger of Death on Lion. And if they're having a look over at Arteezy, they'll see that he doesn't have a lot of mana. So he needs to use a lot of this stuff to be able to be effective in team fights. That's why they're going for this really quick smoke in response to it. Not revealing everything with Armel still showing on the lane. If they can catch someone out here, that'd be enormous. Arteezy, he's very tanky though. Look at that.
Dude, look at all the lanes.
I mean, that's why Armel is forced to be in this sort of thing. He's, of course, got the boots of travel, so he can join the rest of the team, but Shopify have read it. Big kudos to them. Saying, you know what, they're running at us. We know it. We know that we've just dodged a big smoke. And they're still just going to go back to farming. Like, this is the Shopify that I want to see. One that doesn't get just put too far behind by the draft. That's allowed to play these lanes really aggressively, really effectively, and then snowball into that later start of the game.
They're going to try and get the Tormentor here for Secret. Not that the really Shard gives them a whole lot for either the Silencer or the Monkey King. Puppey. Dying.
They're playing for the next one. You know, they just want FBZ to get the free Shard.
I'm on mid lane. 2800 health they have to go through. They're going to Global Silence off the Relocate as well. And Shopify looks like super happy with that. Relocate for Global. This stage of the game. It's a shorter cooldown for Fly, and you're going to continue to be able to play super aggressive. If Secret, if you're ever having a fight back in this game, you need every single ult to be combined together.
Yep. So probably won't need to use that BKB once again on Arbed until like the very later portions of these team fights. He's always going to be able to get off a big portion of his spells. Still is going to be on the back of Crit though. He still needs to be the first one to be able to start out a lot of these fights. He's going to have the backing at least of the Pipe Aura to be able to help him out. Fly just finished that one up not too long ago.
Crit? This might be a pretty good target. Oh, that needs the spear. And now even Fly's going to jump in to try and protect Crit. It's a pretty good arena along with the Wukongs, but is this the fight where they can turn around? Both supports going to be killed off the start. They'll turn to Arbed next as well. We still get to pop the BKB. The kiss is going to be raining down. That'll force the BKB out of Arbed. But now Arteezy showing up with a backline stab as well. Is going to try and chase down Armel, but they've separated Secret. Two fights are breaking out simultaneously. Chrysalis is going to look for the team. Arteezy, he's still chasing Armel further inside the base. He's going to have Arbed to combine with. They'll need some buybacks to protect the Snapfire, but they just come... Oh? Does Arteezy get the kill? Maybe he's going to use the illusion to it. He could Sunder. Can he get it off? 4 stuff away. Armel wanted no way. 50 health. But then that's a double buyback out of the supports nonetheless. And a successful fight for the boys on Shopify.
Get one buyback out of Crit as well, I suppose. But the big thing is they took that fight and Arbed didn't even land a static link onto anyone. He had to use that super late BKB as well just to survive from the Mortimer's Kisses. So it could have gone better for Shopify, but certainly they would be happy with forcing out those 2 buybacks as well as around this period that Roshan's back up and just want to take this one, get into that butterfly on the Medusa, and then look to try and close this game out because the thing that's looming is Armel getting onto that level 20. He's level 17, 28 minutes just went by. He's zooming back towards that where that Wisdom Rune is just to be able to quickly take it. I'm closer towards it, to be honest. Here as well, so ways to be able to deal with a Naga.
Invisibility.
Timing it really well to be able to instantly remove that Watcher. So not wanting to give any sort of information over to Shopify that they don't have to. timing by Chrysalis as well, making sure to get away. Summoned another lot of illusions just to be able to farm that bottom side of the map, but then got out of there instantly.
Gonna disassemble the Sanjin Yasha for the help on Razor. Yes, he is. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are we probably looking for? Manta. Yep.
Feels good to be able to pop just that instead of the BKB for the global.
Yes, it does indeed. Butterfly now completed as well. So 11,000 net worth lead. Do we like the Aegis given over to Abed? I mean, I guess the question is, does Arteezy ever die? And
No.
is Abed going to be a high ground sieger then?
I don't think Arteezy ever dies, and you've also got Arteezy with a dragon scale as well, so he's just going to be constantly making pressure all around the map.
Very
right?
cool.
Yeah, this very balanced way to be able to just chip down towers, and he's just going to force so much attention towards him and away from the Razor. Well, once they get the Manta style, I think that's just going to be all systems go, but they might not even want to wait for that. Again, it is a ticking time bomb with this Snapfire that they don't want to take any chances with. Just onto a TB illusion. Wanted to get a little bit of that static link stolen, or it ruined the fun. Look at how far away they're just leaving Abed to be on the front lines there, saying, "We got you, man. Don't worry, we're all behind you." Just don't want to give anything up for free. As you know, Armel's pretty happy with everything. Like he is just taking a lot of these waves completely for free. Maybe one hero is soaking it up with him, but again, getting closer and closer. Arteezy is the most annoying one on the team right now, though. Keeping these pushed out very consistently.
And eventually, they're going to take a fight with a numbers disadvantage, where someone has to deal with top, and then Arteezy is just going to pop out of bottom. It's going to be a difficult fight for Secret to take.
The plus side is you're playing with a Mars, right? So FBZ, you're always in position if anyone gets into a really poor spot to be able to get Blink Spear back up onto the high ground. Obviously, Abed, not the most ideal target. He's got a BKB, he's got an Aegis, so probably not the one you want to be going for, but anyone else goes onto the front lines, it's going to make it a whole lot more challenging as, yeah, wouldn't you know it, Easy Illusion strike again. Death by 1,000 cuts.
And they're going to wrap all the way around top instead with a full 5-man.
Seeing who
Currently
comes to
it's only-
defend.
Which has only been Chrysalis usually. They're hesitant now with no one else showing on the map. They are going to lose some buildings though.
Yep. Unhealable damage. Sending the Ancient Black Dragon forward. They know that this is just a waiting game, right? Like, if you can get away without losing melee racks, I think you view this as a success for Team Secret. Still, 2 tier 3 towers, 1.5 range racks. Amel, level 19 and a quarter. Towards that silver edge, so he really wants to be able to crit a lot of people down. He is able to just sit back and start spam casting those little shredder bullets.
Well, Aegis down in 50. Let's see if they try and force the issue on Shopify. Would be that last fight before the 20.
Yeah.
Maybe they were waiting for AC.
Maybe. Again, Arteezy is just pushing in multiple lanes at once. Getting the damage in onto that mid-range Rax. It's like, Arteezy, he'll have to be a little bit careful here. The real Arteezy was just positioning himself up towards the top side, but no one else on the team is taking the bait. Aegis, 30 seconds left now. Mel has to be
They're
careful.
gonna jump. Instant Lotus Orb. And FBZ tries to TP in as well. Now we're going to see Arteezy maybe bring his real hero up to the top barracks, or he can continue to send the illusions instead.
Now, this is another range Rax gone. Skadi finished up as well. You have withstood the Aegis. You've withstood the very, very scary part of Shopify Rebellion's draft. Naga doesn't get any less scary, but suddenly you've got your own big threat in Armel right now about to come online. He's actually gone away from the item that he queued up previously that I've completely forgotten, and he's going into the MKB after seeing the Naga Siren.
Silver's Edge.
That's the one.
They're going to smoke. All right.
Maybe
But
use
as-
Armel as bait. Put him a little bit further in the lane.
Oh, this is scary, dude. Pup is going to lead the charge as well. You can't let him
Quick
get
fingers.
caught. Saberlight turns with Aurora as well. Meanwhile, they're also controlling up the Mars, trying to prevent some of the spell casting out of FBZ. But the Global Silence doesn't
Gonna
give
get
them a
anything.
whole lot. They're going to try and chase down the lion.
They pop meta too.
Oh, now it's just an all-out retreat, it feels like, with everything committed on Secret. Shopify know this is a big window for them to be able to successfully come out on top as Abed charges in. They're going to be able to get the song to set up. Static
Busy
Link is
still
there
got
if they want to
BKB.
drain some of the damage. It is a nice work, Hongs, though. Busy, there we go. There's the BKB, considering about using the arena as well, but no deaths.
No deaths,
Alright.
but no cooldowns left for Secret right now. You don't even have one of his kisses. You've got absolutely nothing outside of that arena. It's going to need to be a picture-perfect link back into the spear inside of the base. So they want to just give up another melee racks here. Lane, looks like that's going to be the inevitable thing. Armel still so agonizingly close to being able to pick it up, and they won't even have control over this bottom area of the map, with Shopify able to yoink away that next Wisdom Root if they wanted to.
Come on, dude. This is so... Imagine versing this.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Oh, I don't have to imagine it. It happens every day in my parts. They're about to just mega them off the back of a an Arteezy Naga Siren.
Are they? Fine.
There we go. Not the most
All
exciting,
right.
but
Alright.
it's effective.
Come on, save a life. Oh my god.
So now it's even more challenging for especially like the Monkey King and the Silencer. They can't clear out these waves all effectively with the Mega Creeps. You can just sit back. You can get into your next item if you were really wanting to on Shopify, and they're just going to be playing for that next Aegis, I would assume. Wait for some tier 4 neutral items as well. Nothing really else that they absolutely need to go into, though.
Is there an argument to be made for Chrysalis going Mjolnir? Maybe it could also be too late.
I think it's too late.
Yeah, okay.
It's literally, you got to try and burst down one target at the start of things, and the downside is you've got one of the best heroes at preventing that in Fly on his eye. He's even holding onto a freaking cheese to be able to save whoever gets whoever's the target of that initial aggression.
Any moment, they could jump. Secret may not be ready with how split they are. MKB gets completed for Armel. Rapier is now
Rapier
queued up as
queued.
well.
Yeah.
If they scout out Roche, it's a pretty quick respawn if Shopify want to go back for it. No Hawks or summons inside. I gotta smoke. Screw Roche. Go for the finishing blow. Ooh, who's outside the base? FBZ? Anyway, he might get a nice backstab. Global Sun's gonna be used. Early start onto Armel. Simultaneously, the Roar's going to be onto Saberlight as well to the top, but it's not going to matter because Arbet's in some danger. Tries to pop the BKB and gets out. They're doing a pretty good job to dance at the moment from Shopify. In and out, forcing out the buyback from FBZ.
Pretty good
And this-
song.
How do they use it though? What's the call? Arteezy sleeps 4. Maybe they just want to go for the Mars off the back of the buyback. We'll be able to land the arena. Arbet now with the BKB on cooldown. Still gonna have a bunch of health to play with, and Crit just blows up the Terror Blade. Armel's gone. And with those heroes dead in the grave for the final time, the G's are dropped, and Shopify gets a much needed victory over Team Secret to be able to slow down this 5-game streak they were on.
They do indeed, and I was saying it to you off broadcast, but it really does feel like fast Dota wins games. You know, people are getting more and more aware at how to beat this Snapfire. You know, you've got great effectiveness in the lane, solid laner without too many of those big counters, but you just reach this point where it feels like you can't do anything, and Shopify, they drafted to be able to deal with it magnificently. I think this was probably the most complete team performance that I've seen from them in their entire Riyadh Masters journey. You know, I was praising Arteezy with how he was able to use his Naga illusions. He was using a lot more of those aggressive Songs of the Siren, rather than just purely for those defensive capabilities. He wasn't trying to milk every last drop out of the map. He was giving some of it over to Arben and Saberlight as well.
Hopefully they're able to continue to build on this, though, for Shopify. That's a big thing. I mean, a lot of the success has come from the IO. So, yeah, whether that be the IO Lesh, now the IO Razor. It's something that, maybe instead of banning the Lesh, you might need to consider the IO. Because something we would bring up on day one, right, was like, don't worry about banning the IO. Like, we have not really seen too many other strategies with that. But we are starting to get a couple more pairings so far as, the days go on now at the Riyadh Masters.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the teams that you should actually look to consider it against. Are they, like... They're not undefeated when they pick the IO, are they? I think they lost one against TSM, and then they had like the exact same draft, and then they won. So it's like sometimes it just comes down to how you're able to execute it. And well, clearly IO on Shopify leads to a lot more success. It was really one of the heroes that I was highlighting as having a potential to give them a lot of that. Right? You got to make sure that you're targeting down like this Bloodseeker. Don't care about the Enigmas. It's just making sure you get the IO, you get the Coddle, and you're playing with Storm, Lesh, or a lot of other heroes that are able to make the most out of that potential to just go, go, go.
At least from what I could see, it was 3 out of the 4 games from their wins have come from an IO strat. So Shopify, they're going to jump up to 4-6 now, I believe. Secret going to be 5-5, middle of the road. So you're happy to be able to get that 1-1 tie versus Shopify. But for us, this is going to be our second series done for the night. Next up, we got the boys on Extreme taking on Team Spirit, who we got to see earlier today on this stream. So where are we looking? Extreme, they are currently tied third with Spirit as well, both with a 5-5 map count. So very, very important maps as we are just 1 day away. This is second last day, I should say, of the group stages. So we are getting closer and closer to determine who will be upper bracket, lower bracket, and unfortunately who will be eliminated from the Riyadh Masters. So it's going to be about a 30-minute break. But when we come back, we've got our third series of the night.